Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So yes, uh, those who want to read may raise their hand. Yeah, I believe Rashi Mataji has raised her hand, but she did the prayer. Anshika, please start.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 62 The Meeting of Usha and Aniruddha. The meeting of Aniruddha and Usha, which caused a great fight between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, is very mysterious and interesting. Maharaj Parikshit was eager to hear the whole story from Sukdev Goswami, and thus Sukdeva narrated it. My dear king, you must have heard the name of King Bali. He was a great devotee who gave away in charity all that he had, namely the whole world, to Lord Vamana, the incarnation of Vishnu as a draft Brahmana. King Bali had 100 sons, and the eldest of all of them was Banasura. The this great hero, Banasura, born of Maharaj Bali, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and was always ready to render service unto him. Because of this, because of his devotion, Banasura achieved a great position in society and he was honored in every respect. Actually, he was very intelligent and liberal also, and his activities are all praiseworthy because he never divided from his promise and word of honor. He was very truthful and fixed in his vow. In those days, he was ruling over the city of Sonitapura by the grace of Lord Shiva. Banasura had 1,000 arms and he became so powerful that even demigods like King Indra were serving him most obediently. Should I
Hare
continue?
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Look, at times, what happens? People earn money, people earn strength, people earn knowledge, people earn any of Krishna's will, and we serve. We do not actually serve that person. We actually serve that opulence of Krishna that this person possesses. Anyone who is possessing any wealth of Krishna, any opulence of Krishna, irrespective of Krishna, then he is a demon. Anyone who possesses anything without the involvement of the owner of that wealth, right, he's a demon, right? So please have this demarcation. Yeah, okay, yes, please continue. Long ago.
Long ago, when Lord Shiva was dancing in his celebrated fashion called Tandava Nritya, for which he is known as Nataraja, Banasura helped Lord Shiva in his dancing by rhythmically beating drums with his 1,000 hands. Lord Shiva is well known as uh, Sutosha, very easily
Ashutosh.
pleased. Ashutosha, very easily pleased, and he is also very affectionate to his devotees. He is a great protector for persons who take shelter of him and is the master of all living entities in this world. Being pleased with Banasura, he said, "Whatever you desire, you can have from me, for I am very much pleased with you." Banasura replied, "My dear Lord, if you please, you can remain in my city just to protect me from the hands of my enemies." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rashi Mataji, would you like to continue or should I'm continuing. You can come later. Once upon a time, Banasura came to offer his respect to Lord Shiva. By touching the lotus feet of Lord Shiva with his helmet, which was shining like a sun globe, he offered his obeisances unto him. While offering his respectful obeisances, Banasura said, "My dear Lord, anyone who has not fulfilled his ambition will be able to do so by taking shelter of your lotus feet, which are just like desire tree, from which one can take anything he desires. My dear Lord, uh, you have given me 1,000 arms, but I do not know what to do with them. They are simply a burden. I cannot use them properly in fighting, since I cannot find anyone competent to fight with me except your Lordship, the original, the original father of material world. Sometimes I feel a great tendency to fight with my arms, and I go out to find a suitable warrior. Unfortunately, everyone flees. Knowing my extraordinary power, being baffled, and not finding a match, I satisfy the itching of my arms by beating them against the mountains. In this way, I tear many great mountains to pieces. Look, this happens when anyone gets power. Anyone gets power. I was just telling you this. Anyone gets power, but do not have Krishna in his uh, center of things. Yeah. Lord Shiva realized the benediction had become troublesome for Banasura and addressed him, "You rascal, you are very eager to fight, but since you have no one to fight with, you are distressed. Although you think that there is no one in this world to oppose you except me, I say that you will eventually find such a competent person. Uh, at that time, your days will come to an end, and your flag of victory will no longer fly. Then you will see your false prestige smashed to pieces." Actually, Krishna is doing mercy out here also. We all know who this person is, right? After hearing the Lord Shiva's statement, Manasura, who was very much puffed up with the power, became elated that he would meet someone able to smash him to pieces. Panasura then returned home with great pleasure, and he always waited for the day when the suitable fighter would come to cut his strength. He was such a foolish demon. It appears that foolish, demoniac human beings were unnecessarily overpowered with material opulence, want to exhibit these opulences, and foolish people uh, feel satisfaction when these opulences are exhausted. The idea is that they do not know how to expand their energy for right causes. Being unaware of the benefit of Krishna consciousness, uh, actually, there are two classes of men. One is Krishna conscious, and the other is non Krishna conscious. The non Krishna conscious men are generally devoted to the demigods, whereas Krishna conscious men are devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna conscious persons utilize everything for the service of Lord. The non Krishna conscious persons utilize everything for sense gratification, and Banasura is a perfect example of such a person. For his own satisfaction, he was great. He was eager to utilize his extraordinary power to fight. Not finding any competent, he struck his powerful arms against the mountain, breaking them into pieces. This, in contrast to this, Arjuna. Look, Arjuna too had a lot of power. No one could beat Arjuna as well. So Banasura is compared with Arjuna in terms of qualities. We cannot compare devotees in terms of persons, right? Individuals we cannot compare, uh, right? But here, two qualities are being compared. Yeah, Arjuna too had similar or maybe more powers than Manasura. In contrast to this, Arjuna also possessed extraordinary powers for fighting, but he utilized them only for Krishna. Manasura had a very beautiful daughter whose name was Usha. Uh, when she had attained the age of marriage and was sleeping amongst her many girlfriends, she dreamt one night that Aniruddha was by her side, and she was enjoying a conjugal relationship with him. Although she had never actually seen him or heard of him before, she awoke from her dream, exclaiming very loudly, "My dear beloved, where are you?" Being exposed to her friends in this way, she became a little bit ashamed. One of Usha's girlfriend was called Chitralekha, who was the daughter of Banasura's prime minister. Chitralekha and Usha were intimate friends, and out of great curiosity, Chitralekha asked, "My dear beautiful princess, as as of yet you are not married to any young boy, nor have you seen any boys until now. So I'm surprised that you are exclaiming like this. Uh, who are you searching after? Who is your suitable match?" On hearing Chitralekha's inquiry, Usha replied, "My dear friend, in my dream, I saw a nice young man who is very, very beautiful. His complexion was swarthy. Uh, uh, his eyes are just like lotus petals, and he is dressed in yellow garments. His arms are very long, and general bodily features are so pleasing that any young girl would be attracted. I feel much pride in saying that this beautiful young man was kissing me, and I was very much enjoying the nectar of his kissing. But I am sorry to inform you that just after this, he disappeared. And I have been thrown into the whirlpool of disappointment, my dear friend. I'm very anxious to find this wonderful young man, uh, the desire, the desired lord of my heart. After hearing Usha's words, Chitralekha immediately replied, "I can understand the bereavement, and I assure you that if this boy is within these three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary system, I must find him for your satisfaction. If you can identify him from your dream, I shall bring you peace of mind. Now, let me draw some pictures for you to inspect, and as soon as you find the picture of your desired husband, let me know. It does not matter whether where he is. I know the art of bringing him here. So as soon as you identify him, I shall immediately arrange for it." Chitralekha, while talking, began to draw many pictures of demigod inhabiting the higher planetary system, then pictures of Gandharva, Siddhas, Charnas, uh, Panagas, uh, Datyas, Vidyadharas, Yaksha, and as well as many pictures of human beings. The statement of Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures prove definitely that on each and every planet there are living entities of different varieties. Therefore, it is foolish to assert that there is no living entity but those on this earth. Chitralekha drew many pictures. Among the human beings she drew were the members of the Vrishni dynasty, including Vasudev, the father of Krishna, Surusena, the grandfather of Krishna, Sri Balramji, Lord Krishna, and many devotees. When Usha saw the picture of Pradyumna, she became a little bashful. But when she saw the picture of Aniruddha, she became so bashful that she immediately lowered her head and smiled, having found the man she was seeking. She identified the picture to Chitralekha as that of the man who had stolen her heart. Chitralekha was a very mystic yogini, and as soon as Usha uh, identified the picture, Chitralekha could immediately understand that it was Aniruddha, the grandson of Krishna. Although neither she nor Usha had previously known his name or ever seen him, that very night she traveled in outer space and within a very short time reached the city of Dwarka, which was well protected by Lord Krishna. She entered the palace and found Aniruddha sleeping in the bedroom on a very opulent bed. Chitralekha, by her mystic power, immediately brought Aniruddha in that sleeping condition to the city of Sonitapura so that Usha might see her desired husband. Usha immediately bloomed in happiness and began to enjoy the company of Aniruddha with great satisfaction. The place in which Usha and Chitralekha lived were so well fortified that it was impossible for any male to either enter or see inside. Usha and Aniruddha lived together in that palace, and day after day Usha's love for Aniruddha grew, 4 times upon 4. Usha pleased Aniruddha with valuable garments, flowers, garlands, scents, and incense. By his bedside sitting place where other paraphernalia for residential purposes, nice drinks such as milk and sharbat, and nice eatables which could be chewed or swallowed. Above all, she pleased him with sweet words and very obliging service. Usha worshipped Aniruddha as if he were the supreme personality of Godhead. By her excellent service, Usha made Aniruddha forget all other things and was able to draw his attention and love to her without deviation. In such an atmosphere of love and service, Aniruddha practically forgot himself and could not recall how many days he had been away from his real home. Hare Krishna. Rashimata.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In due course of time, Usha exhibited some bodily symptoms by which it could be understood that she was having intercourse with a male friend. The symptoms were so prominent that her action could no longer be concealed from anyone. Usha was always cheerful in the association of Aniruddha, and she did not know the bounds of her satisfaction. The housekeeper and the guards of the palace could guess very easily that she was having relations with a male friend, and without waiting for further development, all of them informed their master, Banasura. In the Vedic culture, an unmarried girl having association with a male is a great disgrace to the family, and so the caretakers cautiously cautiously informed their master that Usha was showing symptoms indicating a disgraceful association. The servant, the servants informed their master that they were not at all neglectful in guarding the house, being alert day and night against any young man who might enter. They were so careful that a male could not even see what was going on there. And so they were surprised that she had become contaminated. Since they could not trace out the reason for it, they submitted the whole situation before their master. Panasura was shocked to understand that his daughter Usha was no longer a virgin maiden. The weight heavily on his heart, and without delay, they rushed toward the palace where Usha was living. Um, there he saw that Usha and Aniruddha were sitting together and talking. They looked very beautiful together. Aniruddha being the son of Pradyumna, who, who was Cupid himself. Banasura saw his daughter and Aniruddha as a suitable match, yet for family prestige, he did not like the combination at all. Banasura could not understand who the boy actually was. He appreciated the fact that Usha could not have selected anyone in the three worlds more beautiful. Aniruddha's complexion was brilliant and swarthy. He was dressed in yellow garments and had eyes just like lotus petals. His arms were very long and he had nice curling bluish hair. The glaring rays of his glittering earrings and the beautiful smile on his lip were certainly captivating. Still, Banasura was very angry. When Banasura saw him, Aniruddha was engaged in playing with Usha. Aniruddha was nicely dressed, and Usha had garlanded garlanded with uh, him with various beautiful flowers. The reddish kunkuma powder put on the breast of woman was spotted here and there on the garland, indicating that Usha had embraced him. Banasura was struck with wonder that even in his presence, Aniruddha was peacefully sitting in front of Usha. Aniruddha knew, however, that his would-be father-in-law was not at all pleased, and that he was gathering many soldiers in the palace to attack him. Thus, not
Hare
finding
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
any
Mataji. Anshika.
Hare Krishna. Thus, not finding any other weapon, Aniruddha took hold of a big iron rod and stood up before Banasura and his soldiers. He firmly took a posture indicating that if attacked, he would strike all of the soldiers down to the ground with the iron rod. Banasura and his company of soldiers saw that the boy was standing before them just like the superintendent of death with his invisible rod. Now, under the order of Banasura, the soldiers from all sides attempt to capture and arrest him. When they dared to come before him, Aniruddha struck them with the rod, breaking their heads, legs, arms, and thighs. And one after another, they fell to the ground. He killed them just as the leader of a pack of boars kills barking dogs one after another. In this way, Aniruddha was able to escape the palace. Banasura knew various arts of fighting, and by the grace of Lord Shiva, he knew how to arrest his enemy by the use of Nagapasha, snake noose, and thus he seized Aniruddha as he came out of the palace. When Usha received the news that her father had arrested Aniruddha, she was overwhelmed with grief and confusion. Tears glided down from her eyes, and being unable to check herself, she began to cry very loudly. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 62nd chapter of Krishna, the meeting of Usha and Aniruddha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Pradyumna or Aniruddha. Pradyumna is son of Krishna. Aniruddha is grandson of Krishna. Is no other than Krishna's extension himself. Yeah. So Pradyumna and Aniruddha are Krishna's expansions. Yeah. Okay. So here Aniruddha uh, 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 has been captured. Yeah. Aniruddha has been captured by Banasura. Let's understand more. Let's understand. Yeah. Now the suitable match would come. Yeah. So let me start the chapter. Chapter 63. Lord Krishna fights with Banasura. When the 4 months of rainy season passed and Aniruddha had still not returned home, all the members of the family became much perturbed. They could not understand how the boy was missing. Fortunately, one day, the great sage Narada came and informed the family about Aniruddha's disappearance from the palace. He explained how Aniruddha has been carried to the city of Suntapura, the capital of Banasura Empire, and how Banasura had arrested him with the Nagapasha, even though Aniruddha had defeated his soldier. This news was given in detail by Narada, and the whole story was disclosed. Then the members of Yadu dynasty, all of whom had great affection for Krishna, prepared to attack the city of Sonitapura. Practically all the leaders of the family, including Pradyumna, Satyaki, Gada, Samba, Sarana, Nanda, Upananda, Bhadra, combined together and gathered 12 uh, Akshuni military divisions into phalanx. Then they all went to Sonitapura and surrounded it with soldiers, elephant, horses, and chariots. Banasura heard the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty were attacking the whole city, tearing down various walls, gates, and nearby gardens, became very angry. He immediately ordered his soldier, who were to equal caliber, to go and face him. Lord Shiva was so kind to Banasura that he personally came to the commander-in-chief of the military force and assisted by uh, uh, by his heroic sons Kartike and Ganapati. Nandeshwara, Lord Shiva, seated in his favorite bull, led to fighting between Lord Krishna and Balaram. We can simply imagine how fierce the fighting was. Lord Shiva was with his variant son on one side, and Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his elder brother, Sri Balramji, on the other. The fighting was so fierce that those who saw the battle were struck with wonder, and the hairs of their body uh, uh, stood up. Lord Shiva was engaged in fighting directly with Lord Krishna. Pradyumna was engaged with Kartikeya, and Lord Balrama was engaged with Manasura, commander in chief uh, uh, Kumbh Bhanda, who was assisted by Kuppa Karna. Samba, the son of Krishna, fought with Banasura. Banasura fought Satyaki, uh, hmm, commander in chief of the Yadu dynasty. In this way, the fighting was waged. News of the fighting is spread all over the universe. Demigods such as Lord Brahma from higher planetary system, along with great sages and saintly persons, Siddhas, Sharnas, Gandharva, all being very curious to see the fight between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna and their assistant hovered over the battlefield in their airplanes. Lord Shiva is also called Bhutnath because he is assisted by various types of powerful ghosts and denizens on the inferno. Bhuta, Preta, Pramatha, uh, Guhyaka, Dakini, Pishacha, uh, Kusamanda, Vitala, Vinayaka, and Brahma Rakshasa. All kinds of ghosts, the Brahma Rakshasa are the most powerful. They are called Brahmanas, who after death have entered the ghostly species of life. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, simply drove all the ghosts away from the battlefield with the arrow from his celebrated bow, Sargna Dhanur. Saranga Dhanur. Uh, yeah, Saranga Dhanur. Lord Shiva then began to release all his selected weapons against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna, without any difficulty, counteracted all the weapons with counter weapons. He encountered the Brahmastra similar to the atomic bomb with another Brahmastra in the air weapon, while a mountain weapon with a mountain weapon. Yeah. Uh, when Lord Shiva released a particular weapon, bringing about a violent hurricane on the battlefield, Lord Krishna presented just the opposite element, a mountain weapon, which checked hurricane on the spot. Similarly, when Lord Shiva released his weapon of devastating fire, Krishna encountered it with torrents of rain. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Anshika.
Hare Krishna. At last, when Lord Shiva released his personal weapon, the Pashupata Astra, Krishna immediately counteracted it with the Narayana Astra. Lord Shiva then became exasperated in fighting with Lord Krishna. Krishna then took the opportunity to release his yawning weapon. When this weapon is released, the opposing party becomes tired, stops fighting, and begins to yawn. Consequently, Lord Shiva became so fatigued that he refused to fight anymore and being yawning. Krishna was now able to turn his attention from the attack of Lord Shiva to the efforts of Banasura, and he began to kill Banasura's personal soldiers with swords and clubs. Meanwhile, Lord Krishna's son Pradyumna was fighting fiercely with Kartikeya, the commander in chief of the demigods. Kartikeya was wounded, and his body was bleeding profusely. In this condition, he left the battlefield and, without fighting anymore, rode away on the back of his peacock carrier. Similarly, Lord Balrama smashed Banasura's commander-in-chief Kumbanda with the strokes of his club. Kupakarna was also wounded in this way, and both he and Kumbanda fell on the battlefield. Kumbanda being fatally wounded, without guidance, all of Banasura's soldiers scattered here and there. When Banasura saw that his soldiers and commanders had been defeated, his anger only increased. He thought it wise to stop fighting with Satyaki, Krishna's commander-in-chief, and instead directly attack Lord Krishna. Now, having the opportunity to use his 1,000 arms, he rushed toward Krishna, simultaneously working 500 bows and 2,000 arrows. Such a foolish person could never measure Krishna's strength. Immediately, without difficulty, Krishna cut each of Banasura's bows into two pieces, and, to check him from going further, made the horses of his chariot lie on the ground, so that the chariot broke to pieces. After doing this, Krishna blew his conch shell, Panchajanya. Shall I continue? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
There was a demigoddess named Kotara, uh, who was worshipped by Banasura, and their relationship was as mother and son. Mother Kotara was upset that Banasura's life was in danger, so she appeared on the scene with naked body and scattered hair. She stood before Lord Krishna. Shri Krishna did not like the sight of this naked woman, and to avoid seeing her, he turned his face. Banasura, getting this chance to escape Krishna's attack, left the battlefield. All the strings of his bows had been broken, and there was no chariot or driver. So he had no alternative but to return to his city. He lost everything in the battlefield. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So anyone fighting Krishna, uh, they would lose everything, and such was the case with Bansi. But demons have this quality. They would lose each and everything. Think about Ravana. They would lose each and everything, but they would not submit their defeat. Yeah, uh, I'm feeling giddiness. Rashi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Being greatly harassed by the arrows of Krishna, all the associates of Lord Shiva, the hobgoblins and ghostly bhutas, pretas, and kshatriyas left the battlefield. Lord Shiva then took to his last resort. He released his greatest death weapon, known as Shiv Jwara, which destroy by excessive heat. It is said that at the end of creation, the sun becomes 12 times more scorching than usual. This 12 times hotter temperature is called Shiv Jwara. When the Shiv Jwara personified was released, he had 3 heads and 3 legs, and as he came toward Krishna, it appeared that he was burning everything to ashes. He was so powerful that he made blazing fire appear in all directions, and Krishna observed that he was specifically coming toward him. As there is a Shiv Jwara, extremely sorry, Shiv Jwara weapon, there is also Narayana Jwara weapon, which is represented by excessive cold. When there is a excessive heat, on one can somehow or other tolerate it, but when there is excessive cold, everything collapses. This is actually experienced by a person at the time of death. At the time of death, the temperature of the body first of all increased to 107 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the whole body collapses and immediately become as cold as ice. The counteract the scorching heat of the Shiv Jwara. There is no other weapon but the Narayana Jwara. Therefore, when Lord Krishna saw that the Shiv Jwara had been released by Lord Shiva, he had no recourse other than to release the Narayana Jwara. Lord Sri Krishna is the original Narayana and the controller of the Narayana Jwara weapon. When the Narayana Jwara was released, there was a great fight between two Jwaras. When excessive heat is counteracted by extreme cold, it is natural for the hot temperature to gradually reduce. And this is what occurred in the fight between Shiv Jwara and the Narayana Jwara. Gradually, the Shiv Jwara's temperature diminished, uh, diminished, and the Shiv Jwara began to cry for help from Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva was unable to help him in the presence of the Narayana Jwara. Unable to get any help from Lord Shiva, the Shiv Jwara could understand that he had no means of escape outside of surrendering unto Narayana, Lord Krishna himself. Lord Shiva, the greatest of the demigods, could not help him, what to speak of the lesser demigod. And therefore, the Shiv Jwara ultimately surrendered unto Krishna, bowing before him and offering a prayer so that the Lord might be pleased and give him protection. The incident of the fight between the ultimate weapons of Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna, proved that if Krishna gives someone protection, no one can kill him, and if Krishna does not give one protection, no one can save him. Lord Shiva is called Mahadeva, the greatest of all the demigods, although sometimes Lord Brahma is considered the greatest of all demigods because he can create. However, Lord Shiva can annihilate it. Annihilate the creation of Brahma. Still, both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva act only in one capacity. Lord Brahma can create, and Shiva can annihilate. But neither of them can maintain. Lord Vishnu, however, not only maintains but creates and annihilates also. Factually, the creation is not affected by Brahma because Brahma himself is created by Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva is created or born of Brahma. The Shiv Jwara thus understood that without Krishna or Narayana, no one could help him. He therefore rightly took shelter of Lord Krishna and with folded hands began to pray as follows. My dear Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you because you have unlimited potencies. No one can surpass your potencies, and thus you are the Lord of everyone. Generally, people consider Lord Shiva the most powerful personality in the material world. But Lord Shiva is not all powerful. You are all powerful. This is factual. You are the original consciousness or knowledge. Without knowledge, consciousness, nothing can be powerful. A material thing may be very powerful, but without the touch of consciousness, it cannot act. A material machine may be gigantic and wonderful, but without the touch of someone conscious and in knowledge, the material machine is useless for all purposes. My Lord, you are complete knowledge, and there is not a pinch of material contamination in your personality. Lord Shiva may be a powerful demigod because of his specific power to annihilate the whole creation, and similarly Lord Brahma may be very powerful because he can create the entire universe, but actually neither Brahma nor Lord Shiva is the original cause of this cosmic manifestation. You are the absolute truth, the supreme Brahman, and you are the original cause, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation. Is not their impersonal Brahman effulgence that impersonal Brahman effulgence rests on your personality, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad, Bhagavad Gita. The course of the impersonal Brahman is Lord Krishna. This Brahman effulgence is linked, likened, likened, likened to the sunshine, which
Likened means compared.
likened, okay, likened. Sorry, please continue, Prabhuji.
I'm not able to see screen. I don't know what is happening, but my eyes are way too scattered. I'm not able to see. I do not know where are you reading. So my eyes are really bad. I'm just thinking that we should conclude at this. We would continue next week. Yes, very important point out here. We all need to surrender onto Krishna, right? Uh, the more power we have, the more demoniac we become if we do not have Krishna into our center of things. We must think of Krishna all the time. If we do not think of Krishna, we are thinking of this material world. Anyone getting all the power but not Krishna into their heart will actually fall, just like Banasura. Intelligent people would understand. Yeah. So maybe because he was a devotee, fully dedicated to Shiva, maybe because of this he was able to understand. Maybe because of last birth, this one, uh, good deeds. Yeah. But demoniac people do not live at that. I mean, demoniac people are not the kind of person who would agree or who would concede even after being wrong. Right? They would just think that everything is correct only. Everything is correct. Yeah, I'm doing right only. Yeah, that is the quality of a demonic people. Uh, anyone who associates with pure devotees, they may change, else people do not change. And again comes the point of my promotion. Yeah, anyone who gets association of pure devotees would change. Who better than His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada? Yeah, we are trying to preach His message across the globe. Everyone in the globe should be touched. I mean, whether he chooses to watch or not, that is their choice. But we should reach out to everyone. Huh? Like we preach Bhagavad Gita message, we should preach His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada's letter. Srila Prabhupada has written to you one letter. Would you like to read? Yeah. So there have been letters where he has written and it has been published as well. Where he's asking, what can I do? He's telling that I have done everything to make you convince, right? But if you choose not to act, that is your discretion. So we can take this letter to everyone, but if they choose not to act, that is their discretion. Yeah, they can leave at that. That too is okay. But if they do not read at first, I mean, if we are not able to reach out to them, that is our problem. Yeah. So we all have got very amazing opportunity to do preaching in amazing way. Yeah. If you talk of Krishna, they might not be able to follow. If you talk that you have to join so many classes, they might not be able to join. But if you ask them to hear 5-7 minute video, less people would reject it. At least here, what are you losing? You have read so many books. Why can't you read 3-4 letters? Yeah, and everything would come in playlist. Yeah, so we can have that playlist. So you all can share that playlist as well. So Every time I talk about his Evangelical Srila Prabhupada's letter, I feel like Bhagavad Gita message. Srila Prabhupada does not preach anything except Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. What else does he teach? What else does he say? Every time he would speak the same thing. So it is our good fortune that we would be able to pass on this message. So coming back, there were two Jwara, right? To every weapon, Krishna has a counter weapon, right? No one has counter weapon to Krishna's weapon. That's the reason why we say Rakhe Krishna, Mare Kaun. Because Krishna can protect. And if Krishna chooses to protect, no one can destroy. If Krishna has that weapon which he uses to protect, we were talking about mountain weapons, right? If Krishna has that weapon where he chooses to protect, who can kill? Parikshit Maharaj was not killed. Even by Brahmastra, he was not killed. Rakhe Krishna. And if Krishna chooses to kill anyone, if Krishna chooses to kill Kamsa, does he require weapon? No. He can do it by his own fist. Mare Krishna, Rakhe Kaun. Yeah. We would continue once again next week. I'm not feeling okay. Let's not stretch it beyond a point. I was feeling like, shall I continue? You may continue, but explanation part is a bit sketchy. I'm just hearing, and that too a few and far between. If you want to complete like this, you may. Yeah, Rashi Mataji, if you wish, please continue if you like. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then let's start. Then let's start next week. It's okay. We lost 5-7 minutes. It's okay. We would do make it for these lost minutes. So, okay. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm sorry. Some software problem is happening. The software through which I was making video, that is not making video. That has a lot of glitch. I would make that Christmas video is waiting. Actually, that Christmas video is important because else some of us would be Merry Christmas, and they would not understand this fact that our life is not for enjoyment. What did Jesus preach? Our life is not for enjoyment. Our life is for helping others. Jesus preached that I am here to suffer, and people took it. Jesus is there to suffer. Let Jesus suffer. On the contrary, we understand from Srila Prabhupada took so much pain to preach. We all should take some pain to preach. Else think about the same situation. Else we think that Srila Prabhupada is there now. Why do we have to preach? Why do we have to do anything? Let us sleep and be happy, eat and be merry. Right? That does not go. It's just mental speculation which is happening. Some great saintly person had came who preached the message of Krishna in time, place, and circumstances which was required of that time. But then it is largely misplaced as of now. And if no one points that out, people would be in ignorance. It's very hard to wake anyone up from the sleep of ignorance. Yeah. It's okay. Let's continue next week. Thank you everyone for joining it. Yeah. Vaishnav Pranam. And please start. Someone please start.
Okay, so let's start. वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
140 वैष्णवेंद्र की
जय
दिव्यांग शिला प्रभुपाद की
जय
जय, भगवद गीता की
जय
जय
श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय
सभी भक्तों की
जय।
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा
राम
हरे
राम
हरे
राम
राम
हरे कृष्णा हरे
राम
कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
राम
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे
हरे राम
कृष्णा हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
राम राम
हरे
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 हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everyone. Sorry for not continuing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let's continue next week. Hare Krishna.